Hello, welcome back to, well, this channel in general, I suppose. Welcome to my episode 2, my Doctor Who Series 11, episode 2 thoughts video. Don't know what I was doing there. So episode 2, well, I mean episode 1 was pretty decent, I reckon. But episode 2, let's start from the beginning. It's nice to see that the BBC have finally discovered 4K resolution. Seriously, the title sequence literally gave me a fucking orgasm. Okay, that's a bit over the top, it didn't, but damn, this is the best title sequence ever, quite possibly. Yeah, the title sequence, holy shit, if you haven't seen it yet, just look up Doctor Who Series 11 title sequence. It'll be on the official BBC or Doctor Who channel, so, you know, go look it up. It is bloody marvellous. Yeah, and as for the theme tune, the modernised 60s, 70s style that we had at the end last episode, so nice to see we've actually got the full title sequences going now. They still got next time trailers as well, so that's good. I always like next time trailers, even if sometimes they did tend to give a bit too much away. But next time trailer, that's at the end of the episode. We'll discuss that at the end. Where do we start after the titles? Right. Okay, so let's see. Starting from the cliffhanger where they accidentally end up in space. Obviously the planet moved slightly by the time they got there, so yeah. In terms of them getting out of that situation, it was pretty much exactly what I predicted. You know, some ships would come along soon after and pick them up, so that's pretty much what happened. I didn't expect them to get split up like that in the beginning, though they reunited again after like 5 minutes there, so it was all good. Yeah, I really like this, the first like 5 minutes or however long it is when they're separated on the ships, and then when one of them ends up with Ryan and Graham on their ship, and they get to the surface of the planet Desolation first, and then the Doctor and Yaz, his ship, comes down and that crashes. That's a really cool scene, that is, and then they go into the tent, and that's, you know, we carry on from there. We've got this Lin, what's his name? Lin, L-L-I-N. We've got this Lin guy conducting this super big death race. Okay, the reveal that the Ghost Monument itself was just the TARDIS sort of buggering up a bit, that was kind of funny actually. It's like, leave the TARDIS alone for a few hours and oh, it's gone off and started a religion and death race across half the universe. You can't leave her alone for 5 minutes, can you? But yeah, I like the plot of this one. There's some really good location work and the whole planet Desolation literally being desolated. That's a really nice setting. Plot was pretty good. Nothing big too over the top or anything. That's what I like. That's what they seem to be doing now. It's in recent years anyway, especially with the David Tennant and Matt Smith ones, especially with the Matt Smith episodes. They made the Doctor out to be the most important figure in the universe, and it was just one massive, like, all-out space opera throughout the whole era of that part of the show. While that does sometimes work, I think Doctor Who does work pretty bloody well when it's self-contained small stories on smaller scale. Not that I don't like the big grandiose end of the universe stuff, but it's nice that they're going back to the sort of one-off, self-contained, smaller scale stories of this. Episode 1 we had, yeah, we've got to save one guy from this warrior race. And then episode 2 is, yeah, right, so we're here. Got to get back to the TARDIS. How are we going to do this? Go back to the TARDIS. There's a bit of a mystery here. We've sort of solved part of the mystery. Well, that'd be nice. There's the TARDIS. That was probably a bit incoherent, but this isn't scripted, so, you know. Side characters of Epso and Angstrom. Yeah, Epso and Angstrom. They were really good. Side characters don't tend to be that great in Doctor Who for the most part, but these two were quite good. Got some pretty decent little backstories explained to both of these characters as well, so we actually kind of care about them both, even Epso, who's a bit of a prick. But yeah, they're good. They're pretty blooming good actually. I like what they did with them. They work well. This Lin guy that's supposed to be in charge of the race, he was a bit of a git as well, if I'm honest. Yeah, the three side characters, they were good. Lin, I suppose, is kind of the villain in this, in a way. Although, I'd say the more immediate threat would be the planet itself, really. That was more of the issue here. A desolated planet. And those sniper robots, they were pretty cool. I'll get onto something to do with them in a minute. The remnants, those sentient cloth-like beings, they were kind of bizarre, actually. Interesting, but bizarre. I didn't expect the Stenza from the last episode to be mentioned again, and it turns out that they kidnapped a load of scientists, put them on this planet, and got them to make all these fucking, like, things from these experiments, and the remnants were one of them. I really didn't expect the Stenza to be something that would get mentioned again. Whether they're going to be a recurring thing in this series, or a big main series arc villain even though we don't have a series arc this year apparently as such. Whether they turn up again and become a big part of this series or not is yet to be seen. I really couldn't say if I think they would or not. If they get mentioned like again in the next couple episodes or so, then I'm definitely going to be sat there like, yeah, these guys are definitely going to have something to do with something bigger later on. But for now, it still could just be a one-off mention, so we'll have to wait and see over the next 2 or 3 episodes or so, I reckon. But yeah, the Remnants won't, I suppose you could call them the main villain or the immediate threat in this episode, but they don't exactly turn up all that much. But yeah, they're not really the main focus. Again, episode 1, the Zimshar guy wasn't exactly... He was the main villain, but he wasn't exactly the main focus of the episode. And in this, after episode 1, where all the characters have been introduced, you'd expect episode 2 to focus on the villain again. But again, it kind of does focus more on the characters themselves in this. And yeah, the main villains aren't per se the most intimidating threat as such. They don't do a whole lot other than just try and kill them all. But they do have some interesting psychic powers though. Yeah, really starting to see how clever the new Doctor is as well, which did the thing with the cigar. And they're all burned to death. Quite clever that was. That was pretty much the end of those main villains, to be honest, after that point. Not quite the most amazing final showdown for an episode's main villain, but it was entertaining. Come on. You have to admit that. But yeah, you have these remnant cloth creature things. They have these quite interesting psychic powers of being able to mind read and see people's memories and stuff. I know a lot of people have been talking about this on the internet the last couple of days as well since the episode came out. The remnant that was reading the Doctor's memories. That was actually really interesting. We see something about, this mentioned something about a timeless child and some other stuff from the Doctor's past apparently, which really pissed her off for some reason, so he's like, get out of my head! So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's Susan. If it is, that's good, I like Susan. Or it could be something else to do with the Doctor's past, or... I know they said they weren't going to have any series arc this year, but I really wouldn't be surprised if this is the very beginnings of some kind of big secret or story that we're going to get to see unfold over the coming series, or possibly multiple series after this as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where this whole secret in the Doctor's head that was mind-read by these remnants is going to go. Okay, very quickly I just want to talk about this. The scene where they're pinned down in that, in those ruins by those robots, and Ryan picks up the gun and is like, might not train for this, I played Call of Duty, and just runs out and starts shooting the shit out of them, and then runs back in like, how'd you reload, how'd you reload? Now, I know some people thought that was kind of stupid and a bit just sort of shoved in there for no reason, but I can see why you'd think that. Personally, I found that fucking hilarious. If you don't like it, fair enough, but personally I found that to be one of the funniest parts of the episode. It's just so fucking funny, to me anyway. But yeah, that was cool. The sniper bots, again, they were kind of cool villains, more just sort of shoved off to the side because they're side villains. Nice little addition, nothing too special. In terms of companions themselves, I was hoping that Yaz would get more, I mean, not screen time, but more development time in this one, but it seems like no, they're not going to do that this time. Again, Ryan and Graham ended up getting more, say, character development, I suppose is the right word in this one, and Yaz was again shoved off to the side. Now, I know last time we properly had 3 companions in the TARDIS at the same time in the main show. I suppose technically was with the 5th Doctor, with, I want to say Tegan, Turlo and Chameleon, but Chameleon never ended up appearing in more than like 2 episodes, so we won't count that. I suppose the last time we had a TARDIS team this big was the 5th Doctor, Tegan, Nyssa and Adric. When they had 3 companions back then, they did struggle to give them all something to do in each episode. That's why, you know, Nyssa ended up getting stuck in the TARDIS for like 2 episodes every other week or whatever. Yeah, Nyssa pretty much disappeared for the entirety of Kinder. Adric was prisoner of the Master for the whole of Castrovalva. Tegan was stuck in the TARDIS for like an episode and a half in Fort of Doomsday. They couldn't really think of much to do with so many companions, and I'm worried that that's kind of what's happening here. I like it when they have a lot of companions at once. I feel like they can make that work. I mean, seasons 1 and 2 made that work really well with the 1st Doctor, Susan, Ian and Barbara, and then later on Vicky in place of Susan. I feel like that worked really well for the most part. But here I'm worried it's more of a season 19 scenario again, where not all three companions are there, but unfortunately they can't find something for all of them to do in each episode. I've heard episode 4 is going to be featuring Yaz's family, and then episode 6, I think it is apparently supposed to be set in India in the 40s, and it's supposed to feature Yaz's, like, great-granddad or something like that. So maybe those 2 episodes will get more on her. Yeah, the character development's still a little bit unbalanced, I feel, so hopefully they'll address that in the next couple episodes or so. One thing I really loved was the Third Doctor reference with the Venusian Aikido that she did on Epso. I love that. As a Third Doctor fan, I mean, as a fan of the whole classic series and the whole modern series and the whole of everything relating to Doctor Who in general, but for the purposes of this video, specifically the Third Doctor, that Venusian Aikido reference was the best. The fact that it was more than a reference as well, she actually used it on someone, was bloody great. I think that's all. So, in general, really good episode overall, but, of course, we get to see the TARDIS at long last at the end of the episode. Now that is the best scene ever. Honestly, if you haven't seen it yet, then it's honestly the best scene. One of the best scenes in the whole episode, if you ask me. I think a lot of people will agree. Finally, the Doctor finally being reunited with the TARDIS again at long last. I can't really say much more about it other than they somehow made it actually a lot more emotional than you'd expect. No one said it's bigger on the inside this time round for some reason. But yeah. What do I think of the TARDIS is what you're going to ask. Okay, the outside looks really great, reminds me of the Paul McGann TARDIS, and since that is my favourite TARDIS in terms of interior, not necessarily exterior, but it looks really nice, so I like it. In terms of interior, the design itself, I wouldn't say I hate it, I wouldn't say I absolutely adore it as such, but I quite like it. Although, I've never been a fan of dark TARDISes, so the 9th and 10th Doctor's early version of their TARDIS console, I found it was way too dark for my liking, didn't like it. I'm not saying that all TARDIS sets should be overlit as hell like they were in the 80s. A happy medium between the two would be nice. You know, the lighting in Matt Smith's TARDIS I think was pretty good. Capaldi's one I felt was just bordering on slightly too dark for my liking. But this one, it's just, you know, like I say, in the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDISes, to begin with, they were so dark I hated them, honestly really did. I don't know if hate's the right word, but I just really didn't like them for how dark they were. And this one, the design is good, I like that, that's nice and sound, but the lighting, my god, it's way too dark for my liking. Especially around the edges. I would have liked if they put a bit more lighting on there, but apart from that, nice design. Yeah, other parts of the TARDIS I really liked. We haven't seen much of the controls just yet, but it's the way she was using them, that's quite nice. I like the little spinny TARDIS, like, transparent white TARDIS model they've got that spins around on the console. That's quite a unique addition, I think. I think it's supposed to be to show the pilot what the exterior shell is going to look like if the chameleon circuit was working. But of course it's always going to be stuck as a police box because it's the Doctor's TARDIS. That's quite an interesting little aspect, but honestly, as a custard cream fan, my favourite bit of the new TARDIS has to be the custard cream dispenser. Come on. That was the best bit. You know what I said earlier about the lighting being shit in the new TARDIS? The custard cream dispenser absolutely makes up for it 100%. I fucking love custard creams, I fucking love the TARDIS, I fucking love Doctor Who. It's the perfect trio. Name a more iconic trio. I'm getting a bit enthusiastic here about a fucking biscuit dispenser on a time and space machine, aren't I? Yeah, anyway, custard cream dispenser on the TARDIS. I love it. That is the best thing they've ever done. Also, they've shown more of the actual interior of the police box on the TARDIS now, so rather than just having the doors that lead outside, they've got like the doors and then the sides. It's like the TARDIS has a porch now. That's what my dad said anyway. So yeah, apart from the lighting being way too dark for my liking, I like the new TARDIS interior. It's pretty good, and the exterior looks pretty nice. I think that's all I've got to say, really. So yeah, all in all, the Ghost... I haven't even said the title yet. Episode 2 is called The Ghost Monument, by the way. Yeah. So we've had The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which I thought was pretty good, and The Ghost Monument, I think, is equally just as good, and it's made even better by Ryan's How Do You Reload scene and the TARDIS having a custard cream dispenser in it. Great character work, and the Doctor, I think we pretty much know what kind of Doctor she's going to be now, and it's a good one, like they always are. Did you expect anything less? Anyway, all in all, good episode, I like what they did with it. Looking forward to episode 3, it looks like it to be historical, about not changing history with Rosa Parks in it, a guy with a laser gun, and this will be interesting, seeing the 13th Doctor with a pinkish reddish shirt with the stripes on this time instead of the black one. Out of all the things that I could have noticed, I noticed that. Anyway, I like this episode. And if you like this video and the episode, then please leave a like on this video. If you enjoyed me giving my rambling, incoherent thoughts about the episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, Hooniverse Database Part 3 will be out tomorrow, by the way. Gotta get that self-advertising out there. I'm off to have some custard creams, rather appropriately. See you in the next video.